Howdy, folks. Welcome to the Quantum Alchemist. I am Mr. Alchemistic, but you can call me B. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Quantum himself, Alex Romero Vengian.
What's up, guys? What's up, B? It's been a long time since we've been on this, doing this. We've spoken quite a bit in the interim. I felt like this was long overdue. We got our new buddy here, or Wendy.
It's Wendy. She's my
We haven't
roommate's
did
dog. Yeah, we've recorded about a month ago in Venice, maybe more than that at this point. Just as kind of like an intro to what we want to do, and I had to move in the process, so we've been kind of holding off on really pressing go with this podcast. But I feel like it's a good time to start. I'm all settled into my new place. I got my buddy here who is very sweet, and Alex has
not
been
me, the
working.
dog.
She's awesome. Alex has been working very hard to bring his platform up to speed, get it ready for launch, and we kind of just wanted
Uh-oh,
to sit
I
down
lost you.
and
I lost you. It said he's been working very hard to what, and then you froze.
oh no. Alex has been working hard to get his platform uh, set and ready for public consumption, and we just been living our lives, man. It's a it's a process when you're in this spiritual life. You never stop getting challenges, and moving was a big challenge for me. It was a big change, and with those big changes come a lot of old patterns resurface, and then that's been on my end. I've just been kind of dealing with that, and luckily I have the love of the sweet dog to help me through the different challenges that come with uprooting your life and moving to a completely new area. So that's where I'm at. Alex, why don't you give the people a little scoop on what you've uncovered recently?
Yeah, so since I've last done this, with B, I've been put to work in telecom. So now I'm working with an IoT company that does basically like tracking devices for senior citizens that like kind of like think of like life alert, in case they get themselves hurt or whatever. They've got some sort of like SOS button, and also some sort of like uh, a watch device for kids, so that in case they get sequestered or whatever, like they could have an SOS button. So like been helping that company out, and so the other day, the irony behind this is I was actually fighting myself, right? And I've been, those that know me know it's no secret, like I smoke, whatever. Like, don't judge me. And so I was gonna go to the dispensary. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I do smoke weed. And so I was fighting myself about going to the dispensary. And this is actually like it's part of the story, so you'll understand why. So I I'm battling myself about going. I'm like, should I? I'm like, no, I shouldn't, because it's not really healthy for me. But then I'm thinking like, well, maybe I should like reward myself for like going on this walk, and like, because it's not really close. It's like a good 2 mile walk. And like, the work I've been doing lately, I've been sitting on my butt, so I've been a little guilty about like not moving around a lot. And so I'm like, oh, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I've been pretty good. I'm gonna go on this walk. Screw it. So I take off, and I go on this journey, right? And and I walk past this coffee shop that's just been newly built, but it hasn't been open. It's funny because on the side of it reads creatures, which is like bizarre. And then like I think it's called Plants and Coffee, or Coffee and Plants, something like that. I'm not sure. It hasn't even opened yet. But as I'm walking around, it's completely like like it's caged in, right? Like it's got this fence that they put up, and it's got like this beautiful foliage and like these tables set up, and like it's really like for the area, it's like, whoa, what's going on over here? So I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen when that opens. So as I'm walking alongside it, it's got this like planter at the very end of it that's like just outside of the fence, which is also kind of strange. It's like how a fence comes to like a corner, but instead of coming to a corner, kind of like cut in, so it left like a triangle of the corner like open, and it was a planter. And on that planter, and because of the background, it may be a problem, but on that planter was this book, which if you look, like it's not a small book, it's a really big book. And it reads the Master Index of Tibetan and Alice A. Bailey books, which um which when I was like, what the heck is this? And then I open it up, and now obviously you're not gonna be able to see it here unless B can bring it up on the screen. I'm not sure. But on the inside cover here, it says copyright Lucis Trust, right? And when I look at the code numbers for the books of like, what is this master index to? Um, and then you start looking at the selection of like the titles, like mind you, these are all titles of books. So you've got the consciousness of the atom, initiation, human and solar, letters on occult meditation, a treatise on cosmic fire, the light of the soul and its mechanism, from intellect to intuition, a treatise on white magic, a treatise on the seven rays, volume one of esoteric psychology, from Bethlehem to Calvary, a treatise on the seven rays, volume two, esoteric psychology, discipleship in the new age, problems of humanity, the reappearance of the Christ, the destiny of the nations, glamour, a world problem, telepathy and etheric vehicle, and the etheric vehicle, a treatise on the seven rays, volume three, esoteric astrology, the unfinished autobiography, a treatise on the seven rays, volume four, esoteric healing, education in the new age, discipleship in the new age, volume two, externalization of the hierarchy, and a treatise on the seven rays, volume five, the rays and the initiations. Now, this is like, when I tell you, like no one goes on a walk and just finds these books. Like that just doesn't happen. Like this type of book, like I don't even know how to like describe the the significance or the importance of this book to the audience. Like I just opened up the first page, and some of the things it talks about here are like developed for abstractions, definition and need for divine power, the doctrine, 3 points of departure and meditation. Like, huh? Huh? Like,
Right, this is the type of stuff that you come across when you tap into source, when you tap into the higher wisdom. Is like the universe, God starts to gift you with random things. You come across things synchronistically, and books apparently materialize out of nothing, that are apparently, it's an apparent codex to a series of books. And what this codex does is it explains to you where to find certain knowledge within these books. So it's kind of like an index, right? It's like an index of this series of books that's being used for esoteric knowledge, for esoteric teachings.
yeah.
And this is the type of stuff that you come across. Is like Alex was just randomly walking to the dispensary, and comes
Which
across this
mind you,
book.
I had to fight myself to get out of the house to go on this journey. And so B and I were discussing, he's like, yeah, he's like, there's some sort of wizard that was trying to convince you to get out of the house to go find this book.
Yeah, I mean, I've had some similar stuff happen with me. I mean, recently we both read this book, this Templar Order book, right? I think I have it on. I could probably. I don't know if I really need to bring it up on the screen, but so this Templar Order book is written by the I don't even remember what his title was. Big in the it was the Jerusalem, right? He was like the
Just head of the order to the Jerusalem sector.
Jerusalem Order of the Templars, the Knights of Malta, or something like that.
Yeah.
He's a big deal, right? He's a big deal in the esoteric community.
Maybe
So
not now, but we will definitely put it up on screen one of these days.
yeah, I could pull it up. But it's just one of those things where we read this book, and it's one of the books that you sent me. And I'm looking through this book, and it's describing different methods of meditation, different practices, different rituals, and a lot of the stuff that he talks about is stuff that I've just synchronistically come across in my spiritual journey. Now, my spiritual awakening has lasted for a long time. I'd say it really started a few decades ago, but it really kicked into high gear last year, where I really kind of gave myself over to source, and which is something I'd been avoiding for years, but I always felt called that I had some kind of spiritual calling in my life. And I had this awakening that's, I would say, it's the Kundalini. If you really look into these different things, all these different puzzle pieces that I had been collecting just came together. And this Knights Templar book just kind of was God reaching out to me and saying, "Look, dude, like I've been guiding you this whole time. This dude is talking about advanced sacred knowledge and different esoteric wisdom and all this stuff. And it's stuff that I just had been practicing in my own time, and it had just come to me. It wasn't like I learned this from a book. So it was just one of those, for me, reading that book was kind of like you finding this book. It was like something is guiding us, something is teaching us. I'm a student. I'm being initiated into the sacred knowledge of the universe by source, and that is what happens when you really do this inner work. And it's something that we want to help other people find this path as well, because it's calling all of us. Especially, I talked about this in episode 1, that we're in this shift of consciousness, and that people like myself and Alex are being called to share our knowledge. We've been lucky enough to not tread the normal path in life. We saw through the illusions of reality at young ages, and have been kind of walking this feather in the wind path led by source, where we've been guided to different knowledge and different wisdom. And this Templar book was just a confirmation for me. And then I was looking, I made this board game with this knowledge. I talk about this a lot in episode 1, part 2, where we go into the spiritual stuff about how all these different cultures and all this different knowledge has can be found in a lot of different cultures. It just was like at some point knowledge was fractured. Rumi has a really great quote. The Sufi poet Rumi, you guys need to really look into him. He's amazing. But he has a really excellent quote that sums it up. Is that the truth was a mirror in the hands of God, and it fell and shattered, and everybody took a piece of the mirror and thought they had the truth. And at some point in the
Yeah,
distant
I like that.
history, yeah, at some point in the distant past, this is what happened. God's truth was shattered into many, many pieces and spread to the winds. And one of the things that my board game, Kundalini, the game, is trying to do is bring those pieces back together. And just the imagery itself is the tree of life, with the chakras of Hinduism, and the snakes of the Kundalini, the snakes of Hermeticism, and the pyramid behind it. And I could bring up a picture of it, so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. And what it does is it's using all this imagery. Oh, host disabled screen sharing. Bummer. I could just bring it up here. Let me grab it. I got the painting right here.
Do I have screen share disabled?
It's what it said, but I got it right here, so it doesn't matter. All right, so here's the board game, right? I'm trying to get the glare off so you guys can really check it out. All right, so the tree of life is here in the back. It's the white here. And then the Kundalini is the seven chakra system. And then the snakes of Hermeticism coiling around. And then the pyramid in the background here. Right. So what I did is I took all these different symbols from these different mystic traditions, these different ideologies or whatever you want to call them. And I put it together in a board game. And I incorporate the tarot as well. And so the tarot and the tree of life are like this, like Kabbalah and the tarot are very close together. And this is something that after I made the game, I came across this graphic, right? That basically you can't really see it that well, but it talks about it, it shows the tree of life here, right? And then each path of the tree of life is a different tarot card. Each path on the tree of life corresponds with a tarot, and that's what the tarot and the tree of life are both different ways to symbolize the journey of the hero's journey, the journey of life, right? It's what these two different things kind of they correlate together, right? They're trying to say the same things. And the tarot and the tree of life, the paths and the Sephiroth and all this different stuff, it all correlates with it with a tarot card. And then I found this other graphic which gives you the path of the tree of life, which looks like the Kundalini, right? It looks like it looks like the chakras. Um, so anyway, you guys got to look into this shit. It all fucking correlates together, and that's it. Kind of this game. I made this game almost a year ago, right? I made this painting almost a year ago before I really put all these puzzle pieces together. So it was like I've been channeling Source, showing me through my art these truths, and that's why we feel compelled to do this show and to really bring you guys the stuff that we've come across because we got our finger on the pulse. Like I'm literally holding a lightning bolt right now. This is this is it's magical if you really want to call it magic, but I don't believe in magic. We're the magic. Like our bodies are magic. Our the whole structure of this physical body correlates with a spiritual body, and that's what all these different traditions are trying to tell you. And
So real quick, and I'm sorry to cut you off because we're running out of time. Why don't we um come back, pick it right back where we left off right here, and then you can go right back into that.
yeah, I mean, it's basically it's all like this. So we're gonna come back. We're gonna take a little break, come back, and I'll get more into this stuff.
Excellent. Thank you.
Are you tired of energy vampires always trying to suck away your energy? Do you wish there was a better way than evil eyes, crystals, and spells to protect your energy? It's understandable. When you're a chosen one, there's no shortage of vampires trying to come in and steal your shine. And spell work and crystals can be exhausting. Well, you're in luck. Hi, I'm the Alchemistic, and I've developed a foolproof way to protect your energy from all types of energy vampires. Allow me to demonstrate. Are you ready, chosen one? I call this technique the Heisman. It's very simple to perform. Imagine this football is your energy. You just take that energy, tuck it away in your outside arm, and you give that energy vampire the Heisman. Not today, bitch. Now this technique works for any type of energy vampire. Say you've got that friend who always likes to dump their problems on you. They're just a black fucking cloud of problems, and every time you give them advice, they don't fucking listen. Give that bitch the Heisman. Say you have a boss that always asks you to do a double. You did 3 doubles this week. You're exhausted. Heisman. Maybe there's an opportunist from the past who has seen your glow up and knows you're shining and wants to sneak back into your life and taste that sweet, sweet abundance. Spin move, Heisman. Maybe you got somebody that always likes to shit on your dreams and tell you how it's not going to work out. Or what if this happens? You know what I'm going to say. Heisman. You set the intention. This person is no longer going to take my energy. And you tuck it away and you give them the Heisman. Metaphorically speaking, visualization is key.
And we are back. I decided I would put on the Kundalini shirt just to get my point across here. I also have the painting, the original painting of Kundalini here. So we're talking about the spiritual awakening, right? The common threads in all these different mystic traditions and religions, the truth, the mirror in the hand of God that fell and broke, and everyone took a piece, thought they had the truth. And
I love that you started there, because I was like, in my mind when we left it there, I was like, I want to really start off back where you left off, where the actual mirror fell and broke into all these pieces, and you've got all these different shards now of the same consciousness. And it's funny because I was talking with my buddy Brian earlier, which you met when we went to Venice, and we were talking about how you know people will be in the same room, and like you could sense, like he'll talk about how he was down the subway, and the subway was like super hot and like really uncomfortable, and like out of nowhere this guy just starts singing kumbaya like in the middle of the subway, and like you could just tell like people were just hella awkward and like nervous. And I'm like, yeah, like you think about it, like all of society, like we're all fractured, we're all broken, we're all like fractured pieces of the same consciousness, but people are afraid to even look at each other and talk to each other. And it's like, what the fuck, like what's wrong with everybody, you know what I mean?
we never put the mirror back together. We have this veil on our consciousness that is in place due to ideologies and different cultures. They all want to say that they have that one piece of the mirror, right, is their truth. This is the only truth, is this one piece of the mirror that we
That's
have.
the
It's the only
problem.
truth.
It's the only truth is the problem. It's not the only truth.
Yeah, it's the hubris. It's the ego of mankind taking their little shard of truth and saying this is the only truth and everyone has to follow it. If you don't follow it, you're a heathen and you need to go to hell and burn forever.
I guess the best way to describe it, the best way to describe it would be like saying that they're saying that this is absolute truth, and
Mhm.
that this is the universal truth and it applies to everybody. It's like, no, 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 no. You don't get it. That truth only applies to you and your reality.
And part of like what I feel this shift in consciousness in this day and age that we're living in is about is bringing those shards back together. It's like God is bringing the truth back together, like the T1000 when he got shattered. Like, remember that part of T2 where T1000 gets frozen and then Arnold shoots him and he breaks into a million pieces and then he melts and then slowly comes back together. And that's where we're at with the truth right now. Is that Rumi's very wise saying is starting to go backwards, right? We're finally starting to find these common threads. And in this painting here, is this whole episode, I kind of want to dive into symbology, right? Like the language of symbols. If you knew the language of symbols, a great veil would fall from the consciousness of man. I don't remember who said that. It's a famous quote, but that's the key right now. Is like we're in this middle stage. We're in this great awakening stage, a lifting of the veil, if you will, which is what the apocalypse translates into, lifting the veil. And that's the stage of history we're in right now. Is all these pieces of truth are starting to come back together, and we're starting to realize like what this all means. What do all these symbols mean? What and the reason why I put all these different um, symbols together in one is to show the correlation of all of them. They're all from different cultures, and they're all pointing to the same exact thing, which is the vehicle, the divine vehicle, which is our body. And one of the things that the Templar document talks about, with this Manly P. Hall document that I have here, talks about is the the trinity of man. Man is a reflection. As above, so below is the Hermetic principle. The great Hermetic principle, I think it was either Thoth or Hermes. As above, so below. I think it's Hermes. As above, so below. And there's a correlation between the heavenly realms and this physical realm. And one of those correlations between God and creation is the Trinity, right? There's three pieces of God: the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. If you want to go into Christian ideology, but there's a correlation in the esoteric circles, the secret knowledge of the three different pieces of man, the three different things, three different components of man. And Manly P. Hall talked about it. I posted this video on my Instagram, Alchemistic, Mr. Alchemistic on Instagram. You can find it. It's a 5-piece video. You're gonna have to scroll down to find it, but it talks about this exact principle of like the in Freemasonry, there's three different components of man. Is Hiram Abiff, which is the material. There's King Hiram of Tyre, which is the superior, and there's King Solomon, which is the supreme, which is the material man, the flesh, the superior man, which is the Christ, and the supreme, which is the divine human, which is the God consciousness, the piece of your soul that is God, the highest self, is what King Solomon or the supreme represents. And these a lot of these secret uh doctrines, these secret societies are all encapsulating the same knowledge, and they all have their own way of presenting it. And just like the ancient Egyptian mystery schools or the Pythagorean groups, the Plato's group, like they're all talking about this sacred knowledge. Sacred geometry also correlates into this. The tarot correlates into this. The tree of life, which is the Kabbalah, all correlates into the same thing. And if you want to look at, for example, the chakra system, right? The chakra system, the Hiram Abiff or the material man would be signified by the three lower chakras, the solar plexus chakra, the sacral chakra, and the root chakra. They comprise the material, and in the tree of life, it's Malkuth is the root, right? And so it's like this lower. This is the base. This is the base desires of man. This is the flesh from Christianity, the flesh from the Bible, right? It is represented by these three chakras, these lower chakras. And then the heart chakra activates the upper area, which is the Christ, right? The third eye, the throat, the third eye, and the crown chakra make up the Christ, right? And then as you ascend above the Christ, it connects you, like as Christ said, no one comes to the Father, which is the supreme, except through me, which is the Christ. You must rise through the Christ part to get to the supreme part, right? So there's all these different symbols that represent basically the same principle of like the vehicle, the divine vehicle of man, which is signified by the Merkaba, the light vehicle, the light body, right here, the Merkaba. It's all pointing to the same stuff. And when you're in, you want to do Buddhism now, you look into, like you were saying in from the Alice Bailey book, the three what was it, the three, something about meditation, the 3 points of meditation or something. It's like 3 is a magic number. All right, 3 is correlating through all these different traditions because there's 3 pieces to us, and most of us never rise beyond Hiram Abiff, the material. And go ahead, you're gonna look in the book.
Yeah,
But most
talking about
society is geared to keep you in those lower chakras, to keep you in the lower 3 chakras, the sacral, the root, and the solar plexus. That's most of us never open up our heart chakra and unlock the Christ. Here in Genesis, it talks about Jacob's ladder and Jacob meeting God at the place he called Pineal because he saw the face of God and his life was spared. This stuff is literally ingrained in all the traditions in different ways, and it's all pointing to the same stuff, which is the activation of the body. The body is a vehicle, it is a light vehicle. And if you stay in the low vibrational states of the three lower chakras, you never rise above it, which is why Hiram Abiff in the Freemasonry must be crucified. He must be sacrificed. You must give up your ego. You must give up the material that you see as yourself, your own identity, and then you realize that all of us are one, right? And you break beyond the ego, and you see yourself and your neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. This stuff all correlates, and I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal. Alex isn't either. Like, we still face our own challenges, which I was kind of alluding to that at the beginning. We aren't perfect divine humans. Like, we aren't angels walking this earth, right? Like, we're still men, we're still fallible, we're still in our flesh, we're still in this body, but there is a world beyond this world, and our body is connected to that consciousness, and each of our bodies have the capability to activate to this deeper spiritual truth and connect to the source, the creator. And when you do, crazy stuff starts to happen. Like, you start making artwork with all this ancient knowledge just encoded in it. You start finding books like Alex did, um, with all this sacred knowledge encoded within it. And then you start, um, once you connect to source and the voice within, you find yourself on a path of discovery where every day is an adventure, and every day you're being shown different things, whether it's things that within yourself that you need to correct, which I've been dealing with lately.
Which everyone has to correct
Yeah,
at
it
least
never ends. Like, it's
one.
this Abraham Hicks is a great speaker. Um she's very in tune. If you ever come across her quotes, but she was talking about how, we all have this vision, and the divine is pushing us to this vision, right? Which is, it's what we've been called to do with our life. And it's all about not being so tied to that vision of like, this has to happen, but allowing that vision to pull you through the river of life, which is the experience of it. And knowing that you aren't necessarily going to achieve all of that, and that's okay. But just the vision itself, and that inkling, that connecting to that something deeper, and a purpose deeper than yourself, and being able to eliminate the ego, and see that we're all one, and we're all in this river of consciousness, kind of flowing in this experience. And that's a long tangent, but this is where we're at. And this is what we're trying to impart upon others, is that we have jumped into this river, and that we found a deeper understanding that has enriched our lives. And when that happens, when you have that big spiritual awakening, all you want to do is help other people find the same thing, because you see yourself in those other people. And this is one of the reasons we've been called to do this podcast, is to bring you this knowledge, to bring you stuff, to try to put the puzzle pieces together, because life is this huge puzzle, and the truth has been broken into a million pieces, and everybody thinks they have a little piece of it, and you don't have the whole truth if you're just a
I'm so
mainstream
glad.
person.
I'm so glad you brought this up, because this was one of the conversations I was having with Brian. Like, so you spoke with Brian, like we all know each other, and he wants to go to doing that India trip. And so, like, he's like I was talking to him, and like some of the stuff that we were talking about, I was like, bro, like you should be talking about this stuff on the podcast. And he's like, oh, I'll talk about that stuff when I'm ready. He doesn't feel like he's ready to talk about it, and I totally respect that, and that's fine. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to wait till I feel like I'm ready to talk about these things because I don't know when if I ever will be ready. And 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 the importance isn't the being ready part. The importance is the pursuit of being ready, the pursuit of the fixing of the self, which you can only be ready in pursuit of fixing yourself. So even in doing this, like you're telling people, like, like we're not claiming to be perfect, we're not claiming to have it all figured out. I'm like, no, not by any means. Like, if anything, all we're doing is getting the conversation started. Like, are we asking the right questions? And and then are we listening to the right answers? Because you can get answers, but does that mean that it's right? Just because you get an answer doesn't mean that it's the right answer. So are we asking the right questions, and are we listening to the right answers? And so I think it's important to at least have the conversations, because um you know you and I, and this is one of the reasons why I'm so like adamant about whenever we have a chance to even talk, like I would love to just automatically record everything we talk about, because I don't think there's ever a conversation that we have that I don't feel would impact somebody's life somewhere around the world if they were just to hear the context of our conversation. Like, I believe that that's how important our conversations are.
Well,
And
we're
so
really just we're grounding light codes. That's what's happening. Like, because of our connection to source, like, our light bodies are doing all kinds of work in the ethereal, and people might snicker at that. Oh, these fucking guys are crazy, but like, this
uh,
body here, like this body you see, is not me. It's not the extent of me. I am more than my physical body because I'm more than physical matter. Is one of the mantras I say in my meditations. But like, this, it looks like a bunch of, it might just look like a bunch of gibberish or a bunch of symbols, but like, it's the symbols are God's language. Symbols and numbers are God's language. It's how God communicates with us, because God doesn't speak any specific language, right? And what he's speaking is universal. So to speak it in symbols, that's how it is put across to people, so that it can be condensed
understood.
and beyond language, because we don't I thought we talked about this in episode one, like, um we didn't originally speak with language. We spoke with energy, we spoke with vibration, we spoke, we communicated with our minds, right? We have that capability. It's not beyond, it's not some like fantasy world, people like magic and all this other stuff that has been demonized, and people don't even know what the fuck magic really is, right? And like I was saying this earlier, like, I
Yeah.
don't do magic. I am magic. My body is magic. This is my body, right? This is like it's it's a shame because of that, like, this veil has really kept us from breaking through and understanding what we are. Like, we are a piece of God. Like, God made us in his image. It says in the very language of the Bible, like, we were made in the image of the creator. We were given the power to rise, to be a peer. God created peers. He didn't create subjects. God was creating peers in his image, to rise, to be able to live on that level of consciousness. Maybe not in this body, but this spirit, this light body he gave us, has the capability to evolve. And we lost that at some point. And in the ancient past, we talked about this in episode one. It's in these different stories, the story of the Anunnaki, the story of Adam and Eve. We were degraded, right? And we're kept in this steady degradation in these lower three chakras. See how it cycles, right? This is consciousness. Your consciousness is cycling constantly at this lower level, and you never take this path, open the heart, and break up to these other paths, up to supreme knowledge, which is knowledge of God. right?
Yep.
That's what this is symbolizing. And I've
The
done the
path to
fucking hard
enlightenment.
ass work of breaking through and figuring out what all this stuff is pointing to, what all this stuff is trying to tell us, because I understand it, you know? And that's why I feel compelled to speak about this, because this is the time where the knowledge comes back together like the fucking T1000. That's the age we're living in. And this consciousness shift that we all feel in our hearts, that we feel is happening, the structures of the world, the structures of the material world that Hiram Abiff created are collapsing. It is falling in real fucking time. And part of why this is so urgent to get this knowledge out there is because we need to activate these. We need to activate our light bodies for what's coming, for the evolution of consciousness, for the next step in human history. And all these different cultures were pointing to this: Age of Aquarius, Kali Yuga, the Mayan calendar, the apocalypse. It's like it's this is what we're living in right now. And people want to keep their head in the sand because it's scary. This change that is happening is scary. It's scary. Change is scary in general, right? Most of us never change or never try to change because we get stuck in that fucking low vibrational lower three chakras, and it's real comfortable to stay in this little cycle here down here at the bottom and think this is all there is. This is the material world right here. But there is a whole other world out there. And I can fucking tell you because I am up here. And that's not being ego. This is just knowledge. I know that I'm up here. That's why I'm creating things like this, because I am directly connected. My meditations are intense, and I have felt these three different stages in my meditation. I know how to activate and go up to these different levels. And this is the knowledge that's pouring down from that upper level through this vessel. Like, this is happening. And it's urgent that you guys really snap out of these lower three chakras and understand that there's a whole fucking bunch of reality and dimensions beyond space and time that you can access, and you've been kept down. Like, God wants you to rise. He wants you to ascend, right? Like, he wants that piece of himself to become the greatest version of itself. And I want you to as well, all of you, like, because it's in my greatest interest as a piece of God to see other pieces of myself ascend, and we ascend together. And then that's when Christ returns on earth, right? If Christ returns here first, this is the second coming, comes here. And that's what the religion is. The church has completely veiled this from you. Like, you do not understand. This is heretical. Like, they'd call me a demon if I said this in church, because they don't understand what all this stuff is pointing to. But this is the revelation that we're in right now. It's the revelation of Christ in man. Like, this is where we are. And it's just really crucial. And like, we have all this documentation that will show this to you. You know, this is I'm not just talking out of my ass. There's literally thousands of years of mystical tradition and ancient knowledge and secret society knowledge and all this stuff that's been kept from you that is literally saying this. That's
Yep,
why I go off on
absolutely.
tangents, man. It just pours out of me. Like, this is
No,
happening. This is the lifting of the veil. This is the apocalypse.
yeah,
And you can be scared of it or you can embrace it, because we're about to come to this wonderful period of history where humanity throws off the shackles of the degradation and ascends to that Christ consciousness, that return of Christ within all of us. And it's really important that we remove this veil that has kept us thinking we're no good and that humanity is just a bunch of parasites, and we deserve to destroy ourselves, and it's all nonsense. It's bullshit. It's the
right.
the degraded part of us deserves to go, right? We need to come back to here, up here. back to God, and become what He created us to be, which is
Well,
His companions.
the good news is that, like, and I didn't actually have a chance to tell you this before, but I'm very excited to be able to share this with you now and live and with the audience as well. So last night I was at this event at Level 8 in downtown, which actually it's ongoing right now again too. But um I figured I already went hard yesterday. I'm like I I really wanted to do this yesterday, but um I was called to go to this event, so I did. And I'm gonna be very vague in some areas because you already have some background story to some of the situations. So I took you to Beverly Hills, um, where we met with some people, and those people have their own salt cave, and they have a network attached to the salt cave that allows for them to stream into 162 countries. Apparently, they they're very optimistic about a very big deal that they're securing with one of the top two production companies of the world in terms of like film and Hollywood and stuff like that. And so I don't think that funding is going to be an issue. And I think that we're going to be able to go ahead and start shooting at the Salt Cave if we choose to. Um, aside from the Salt Cave scenario, there's also talks of now integrating some of my research with some of the um, other participants of this group that I guess have been working in parallel to something similar to what I've been doing my research on. And we met last night. The irony behind the conversation was he was so excited to like get my contact information, and he grabbed my phone and he put his phone in there, and then he called himself, and then he had this watch, right, and the watch like it was like his phone, and so he looks at his watch, and then he looks at me and he says, it says John Wick. And I just looked at him and I just laughed, and I'm like, yeah, it's to let people know I mean business. And he just looks at me and he's like, interesting. And, and so like that's how we met, right? And so pretty much like there's like a long history there of like how I even met that guy. But anyway, um yeah, so this guy has been doing some work in parallel to like some of the research I've been working on. Um he's really interested in that academic thing that I was telling you about, that I was raising capital. I'm raising currently $100 million to do an academic credentialing system for identity management using blockchain and AI. Uh, and so we found a lot of synergies in what we were discussing yesterday. So he's really hyped up. We were speaking earlier today through text message, and they're really excited to like get to learn more. And of course, everything is tentative to like this funding going through. But I mean, they were celebrating like it was 1999 yesterday, so like they had closed the deal. Uh-oh, running out of time.
We got 10 minutes.
Yeah, so like they were like celebrating pretty much. And one of the things that was kind of funny, one of the guys here there is coordinating a uh a fight, a fight, a boxing match, a bare knuckle boxing match between members of all of the recognized organized gangs. So think of like Bloods, Crips, Aryan Nation, like fucking Latin Kings, like whatever you want to call it. Like if um if they want to participate, they can. And like there's gonna be a fight happening in Mexico that they're gonna be televising, streaming to 162 countries through this network. Um and it's gonna be a one-time event where you can't just, it's not gonna be pay-per-viewed. It's gonna be like a private link that you only know if you pay the money to be a part of it. And but pretty much it's gonna be like all these gang members like fighting each other. Like um and so yeah, like they're just doing some really like wild stuff. Also, the backstory to that is um that my understanding is that there is like a truce that is being called at the highest levels of these gangs because um they're all basically saying like they want to put down the weapons so that they don't have to kill each other anymore, because they all realize that they're basically killing each other over lies that were over just lies, right? Lies of, and that the enemy isn't each other, the enemy is the system. So instead of like taking it out on each other, they're like, yo, like let's put down the guns, put on the gloves, and let's duke it out. Well, in this case, no gloves, right? And and this way they could avoid having the collateral damage of just loss of life for no reason. Like they're gonna have their beef, okay, fine, but like you don't have to kill each other, you know? And so this is like coming from the top down. Like this is what they want. They don't want them to be shooting each other anymore. And this is what, and they're all in agreement. The guy who coordinated this actually spoke with a lot of the leaders from many of these organizations, and this is what my understanding is of that they want to do. So this is kind of like think of it like Armistice Day for like gangs. It's weird.
No, dude, that's pretty awesome. Like I feel like everybody's feeling this, man. We know we've been lied to, and you know what you described about, you know, the gangs and how they've been, you know, they've been fighting over lives. Like that sounds like every war that's ever been done in human history, right? Like what's happening right now is we're starting to see our common humanity. We're tired of seeing people in Gaza get bombed because Israel decided that they needed to bomb a school. You know what I mean? Like, and then the lies behind that whole conflict, and it's just like, and then the Ukraine stuff and fucking the 20 years of Afghanistan, and just
Well,
it's
let's
just
let's
people are done.
pick up when we get back from our break on the lies and how we actually have the capacity to um to not perpetuate the lies by engaging in these new concepts and ideas that we've been talking about, and only because like we're gonna run out of time any minute now. So that's a good segue. We can come back with and pick up there on the lies.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan, brother. We'll be right back with part three.
Amazing. All right, everyone.
Do you attract broken birds? Got a soft spot in your heart for dreamers? Have you got an abundance of disposable income just burning a hole in your pocket? Well, you're in luck, because I've got something that ticks all your boxes. It's called supporting your local artist. Hi, I'm Mr. Alchemistic, and I have no shortage of wacky things for you to blow your money on. I specialize in sacred geometry artwork that you could have sworn you've seen in some kind of crazy fucked up fever dream. Available on my Etsy at Alchemistic Eye. I've got a t-shirt website, AlcheMystic Apparel, featuring over 30 different designs of my artwork. And that's not all. Check out this mystical tarot card deck. These super cool clocks. Coloring books for the kids. These magic glasses. And coming soon, Kundalini, the board game. What good is all that abundance if you don't share the wealth? Tick those sympathetic boxes and help this broken bird heal. Because some of us weren't meant for the hamster wheel. My links are in my bio.
And we are back. Quantum Alchemist, the lifting of the veil. Wow, wow, wow. Alex is in his NWO shirt.
Yes. I
You,
am
you,
wearing an NWO shirt because we decided that we were going to pick up on talking about the lies and then heading over into abundance. So we are back with the Quantum Alchemists. This is part 2 or 3, I forget.
part three.
Part
Third
3. All
outfit.
right.
My third outfit here with my t-shirt, activation. You can get all these t-shirts on alchemisticapparel.com. If you follow me on Instagram at Mr. Alchemistic, all the links are in my bio. And you could pick up all these awesome shirts, but not the NWO one. That's the
No.
rest. Wow, 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 wow. New.
You know the funny thing is when I'm looking at this on my screen, bro, it actually says own.
Because they
I don't
own
know.
a
Anyway, so
new world order.
right, and that
Life.
we are living in a world of lies, and so we have fractured people, right? All the fragments of this one consciousness, and and uh and we are all experiencing different realities or different perspectives. So in doing so, like, you have a group of people that are blatantly telling other perspectives, other other people, which is basically, it's like me telling you, which is basically, it's like me telling a part of myself by me telling you these lies. So by people telling people lies, it's like they're telling a part of themselves these lies to try and deceive them to get over on them. But then it's deceiving, and it's the way I describe it, it's like having a sailing ship, right? Where you have a set course, let's just say from the tip of South Africa to, like, I don't know, to like Miami or something. I don't even know if that's possible, but to like Brazil, right? From Brazil to Africa. And if you if you tell people lies, like, their compass is going to slightly change on the direction that they're going, because the lies aren't founded on truth. So their perspective of truth is slightly skewed, which means that their compass, their coordinates are skewed. And so now they start to make new decisions based on new information. And when you take this and you amplify that over time, more lies, more time, that that compass is, it's like a polar shift. What was once north is now south, and you think you're going north, and you will fight to tell people tooth and nail, and you will fight to the death, and you will kill for the belief that you are fighting to go north when you're actually going south, because your compass has been so fucked up over time. Anyway.
No, it goes back to the mirror metaphor, right? Like there's been so many shards of truth that have been held up as absolute truth, and it's not the absolute truth. It's just a fragment of it. And so much of society operates on this premise that we know the truth, right? Like, but even Napoleon said history is lies agreed upon, right? The lies that we've structured our modern society on have given birth to more lies and more
What
lies,
was,
and
what was the famous saying about the winners of wars write history, not the losers?
yeah, we have um an assembled bit of information in our history. You could take history class, and they give you a history book, and there's all this stuff in this history book. Oh, this all happened, right? And this is how it all happened. But like the history was written by the winners, so we never know who the good guys and the bad guys are. Like from the American perspective, we're always written in as the good guys, like we were the good guys in World War I and World War II.
Right.
And if you question that, then you're evil and
Yeah.
you're one of
Tell,
those
tell,
commies. You're the one of those
tell
communists.
that to the people in Vietnam, right? Where like it's funny. I was just having this conversation with people at work where like they were giving me their perspective on like what happened in Vietnam, and like supposedly our soldiers came back from Vietnam tortured, mentally tortured, because they were not equipped to handle the guerrilla warfare that was happening in the jungles, where like they came back fucked up because like there was some really dark evil shit happening to them because they were invading their land and they were just defending themselves, right? But that's not what they're going to tell you.
There's a war itself is inherently a shadow aspect of humanity. It's God fighting with himself in a very dark way. And it's the energy that we are as bodies, as humans, is being used for death and killing. And that's not what the purpose of this whole exercise was supposed to be when we were created. Like I said, we were created to be companions of the creator. We were created to ascend to that level of consciousness. And what happened is the shadow came in and diverted it and put us in this cycle, like I was showing earlier, the cycle of the lower chakras, the desires of man, the flesh.
Right. The flesh
And wars are all basically
sword,
created for wealth, right? For to control
acquire,
control
acquire.
resources, control and acquire resources, which resources control man. Like if you control the water and the food, you control everything because that's what we all need to survive. And these lies that have been perpetuated are usually ideologically based. Oh, that's the bad guy. We got to go kill the bad guy because they believe in horrible things. And we're sold these lies in order to get us to kill another version of ourselves. It's
Right.
it's by separating us with these
Right.
lies.
All
Oh,
the
that
different
person's
degrees
the other.
the different degrees of bad guys.
That person is a different color than you. That person believes a different religion than you. So they're the enemy, and they're trying to threaten our freedoms. How many times have we heard the same rhetoric throughout the whole Bush administration of they're a threat to our freedoms when they're thousands of miles away in the
W,
Middle East, and
WMD.
they don't have the capability to take away your freedom here on our soil. Like there's never been a war fought on our soil other than the Revolutionary War and the Civil War. But like somehow these outside threats are a threat to our freedom, and that's how we're sold on this shit.
It's a threat to our democracy.
It's a threat to democracy. um and this is the foundation of our society. And like we talked about the money system in the first episode and the lies of the money system and how you're basically kept in the dark about what money really is and how it really works.
The debt
And
system.
this is it's a debt system of slavery, and it's utilizing our energy, which is everything that we are. Your energy is used to acquire this thing called money, which is a go-between for energy. It's a substitute for energy so that we could trade it for things. And it's this is just the entrance to the rabbit hole of lies. Human history itself, you can pick it apart, and a lot of the institutions in place uphold these lies and sell them to you as truth in institutions like schools. Oh, it's the government,
University. University.
universities, and governments create these schools to indoctrinate you into systems that keep you in this low state. You never figure out what money is. You never figure out how to attract money and how to get out of this lower vibrational state and you're always constantly on this hamster wheel chasing a carrot. And our whole society is structured upon these things, and that
Right.
you never realize that you have the capability to activate a deeper connection with the creator. You have the ability to activate your body and work with energy, and that's seen as magic and evil, when it's really just interacting with the earth. Like they put this 1 inch rubber sole on your shoe, and then they put concrete everywhere over the earth, and then you walk around disconnected your entire life. And
Yeah.
I noticed this even in the park, like, because I go to the park and I walk around in my bare feet and I touch the trees and I interact with nature, and people look at me like I'm fucking crazy hippie weirdo, which I probably look like a crazy hippie weirdo, but that is how you connect to the earth. Like, you've been this concept of interacting with this reality has been demonized to where you see people that do it as some crazy hippie weirdos
Even do
when
something
you're,
good for you because you look weird doing it.
well, and then you go to the park. Most people go to the park, they walk in their thick fucking rubber sole on the concrete path that's been carved out for them,
And they say that they grounded.
and they never connect to the nature, which is what they went to the park in the first place for. We
They
need
won't
to
even
have
touch a
parks.
tree. They won't even touch a tree.
When cities are created, right, there's a certain amount of land that has to be allocated for parks, because humans, we need nature, we need trees, we need some kind of
Yeah.
escape from the concrete structures that we've created, because that's not natural. That's not the natural world. And
Right.
so you go to the park to connect to this nature, but you never really connect to it because you've got a fucking thick ass rubber sole on your foot and you're walking on the concrete path that they paved for you. And that's literally a microcosm, a metaphor of your entire fucking life. Your entire fucking life is you walking on the concrete path on a with a rubber sole, disconnected from yourself and from the earth. And
Yeah.
this is more of the lies. Like, and they make you feel weird, and looking at people like me doing what we were put here to do. The Native Americans walked on the earth. They fucking danced and chanted to get rain, right? Which is frequency, it's energy. And then science now, through quantum physics and our modern, like, technology and our modern fucking knowledge, are realizing that everything is energy vibrating at a frequency, and including you are energy vibrating at a frequency. And it's
Yes, I
all
am.
about keeping your frequency from finding this out. And so you fucking consume synthetic frequencies, like this computer, like a TV, like this phone. It's all synthetic frequencies designed to keep you from rising above those three lower chakras that I talked about, breaking through your heart chakra and opening it up and seeing that the world is a very different place than you've been told, because you've been fed, spoon fed fucking lies your whole fucking life. And that's the veil. That is the veil, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, is the fucking synthetic frequencies, the NWO, the new world order.
They
They
want to own your mind.
The funny thing about the New World Order is that they aren't the New World Order. They are the Old World Order. They are the same fucking people that have been doing this for generations. The
Old world.
bloodlines, the ancient bloodlines, the royal bloodlines that have
Allegedly.
been controlling all of this, because they have the secret knowledge that I've been talking about. They've been keeping it in these secret societies and passing it down to their families and keeping you from
Mhm.
understanding all this stuff. They're the top of the pyramid, right? They're the top. They're up here at the top of the pyramid, and you're down here at the bottom holding them up. And that's why they never tell you this knowledge. That's why you never see with your eye that this is what's really happening. You've been disconnected. They unplugged you from the real matrix and plugged you in to
To their nature.
the fake matrix of synthetic frequencies that bombard our bodies all day long.
And that
And
includes augmented reality, virtual reality, all those mediums.
that's the next step. That's where they plug you in permanently, and they cut off your natural frequencies, your natural capability to connect to source and to realize your own potential,
Yeah,
to
you're not gonna know
realize
the difference between what's actually real and what's not once that happens, because those frequencies will actually take over your mind, and you will think you are living in base reality, and you're not. Now, how scary is that?
it's yeah, it's scary stuff, but that's why it's so important that podcasts like this exist. That's why we feel it's so important to tell you all of the stuff that we've come across, the understandings that we've come through, and to really impart upon you how important it is for you yourself to find your greatest version of you, because it's calling out to you, that supreme version of you at the top of the kundalini, when your double helix rises and you ascend from your base chakra, your base state, your flesh, when the flesh becomes the body of Christ, and you realize your full potential that God intended when He created you in His image. Like that is the destiny of man, and that is the age that we're coming into. The age of Aquarius is the age of knowing, and
Yeah,
all
age of information.
the veils are being lifted, and it's really important to start to look into the language of symbology, the language of numbers, and understand this stuff.
Gematria? Are you familiar with
And
gematria?
what's that?
Are you familiar with gematria?
I am.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
not.
not too, but maybe you could open it.
I'm not super well versed in it. I understand numerology. I know that 3, 6, and 9 are numbers outside of space and time. Nikola Tesla spoke about this a lot. 3, 6, 9, and 12. The old Egyptian system was based on 12, not 10. 12 and 6, because when you there's no fractions. It's exact. Um, so there's a lot of stuff like I'm not equipped to teach a lot of these things, right?
No
I
worries.
understand I understand these things. I know how it all correlates and fits together. Gematria is there's correlations between that, numerology. 9, like 9 for instance, right? Nine's a very special number because in numerology, every product of 9 adds up to 9. It's the only number like that. Like every single product of 9, and you can go through every single one, and you will find they all add up to 9. Um, every um, every product of 3 and 6 add up to 3, 6, or 9. Um, that's why these three numbers are special. And Nikola Tesla talked about these three numbers. They're outside of space and time, which is the other numbers. And you really got to do a deep dive into this stuff to really
I,
for it to really
we
click.
should do that. We should do that sometime.
Yeah, it's something that I need to get more well versed in. It's something that I understand, but I can't I can't make you understand it. I'll put it that way. I
Okay.
understand it, but I'm not equipped to teach it yet.
Well, well, we always encourage people to go ahead and do their own research. So I think we can take time, amongst the hundreds or thousands of subject matters that we're gonna be covering. That at some point we can actually take time to go down those rabbit holes and just kind of be like, hey, like this is what we found on the subject matter. Like, what do you think about that?
There's, I mean, with numbers specifically, I'm more I'm very well versed in sacred geometry and understanding how sacred geometry is the fabric of existence. Like you take this picture, for example, right? This picture right here is Metatron's cube. This outer structure here is Metatron's cube, and the inner structure here is the Merkaba, right? This what all this is pointing to. Metatron's cube, if you really want to do a deep dive into sacred geometry, Metatron's cube is a symbol, basically symbolic of God Himself, because every Platonic solid can be found in Metatron's cube, which the Platonic solids make up every shape known, right? So that
Uh-oh.
means every shape.
I'm thinking Terrence Howard right now. I'm just getting the Terrence Howard feedback right now.
Yeah, I'm very deep into that stuff. So literally every shape in existence comes from Metatron's cube. So it is a generator. I call it the generator, right? Metatron's cube is the generator of reality. So that's why I wear this. This is like my crucifix because to me it symbolizes God, and then the Merkaba on top of it symbolizes man. So it's God creating man. That's how I see it. The flower of life is a symbol of God, because literally everything comes from the flower of life. And if you really dive deep into this shit, the flower of life is the pixels. Like if you think of like your television, right? There's a frequency beamed into your television from a satellite, supposedly, and it breaks up into all these pixels and then reassembles, and it's a picture on your screen, right? And if you think about reality and how we view it, the flower of life is the pixels of reality. Like
Right.
it
Pixel.
literally, all shapes come into matter. It's how matter is manifested into from energy into matter. Um, it gets pretty deep, man. There's a really good um, video on YouTube about sacred geometry that is I'm gonna link it in the description below. I'm gonna link this sacred geometry video. You guys all need to watch this video because it
Nice.
really puts everything Terrence Howard says and more into perspective to where it's palatable. It can be digested. Like because Terrence
Okay.
Howard is way out there, man. Like I'm
Yeah,
not saying
he
he's
is.
crazy. I'm
I
not saying
love that guy. He's so smart, but boy, he's out there.
he's so out there that he's really hard to understand for average people, right? Like, and that's the problem with this knowledge, and a lot of this knowledge in general is like when you say it, you sound like a crazy person. Oh yeah, this is the pixels of reality. And if I showed you a picture of the fucking flower of life, you'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? It's just a bunch of circles." But if you understand energy and how energy comes from the fifth dimension and comes and forms into matter, how energy is shaped into matter, it makes more sense. And sacred geometry there's a reason why they call it sacred. Geometry is sacred. And there are different principles of sacred geometry that play out as patterns in reality. And if you really want to look at it this way, right? In the Bible, it says before creation was the word, right? Like the word existed before anything. Before God said, let there be light, there was the word. And then God said, let there be light. And what's that?
I was gonna say, yeah, I've been around some circles, and some people can interpret. I mean, I could say the word could be thought. The thought before he spoke it. Before you speak, you think. So the word would be the thought.
Well, the word is the program that we're living in. And
Really?
let me elaborate on this,
Go ahead, go ahead, go
right?
ahead.
So the movie Pi by Darren Aronofsky is a classic. It's one of his first movies, and it really delves into the mathematics, right? Like there's this guy, he's a mathematician. He's looking for a pattern in the stock market so that he can make money. And he stumbles upon pi and how pi is this anomalous, undefinable number, right? It literally goes on forever. 3.14, blah, 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 forever. It never has a pattern, never repeats, right? So he figures out that pi has something to do with the name of God. And then these Kabbalists, Tree of Life, these Kabbalists find out about his research and they start digging into him, like trying to figure out like what's he know, because they're looking for a code in the Torah, much like he's looking for a code in the stock market. They're looking for a code in the Torah. And what it basically boils down to, and this is something that I kind of had a download about, was that if you look at everything that we are creating, like computer programs, right? If we create like GTA, for example, Grand Theft Auto, there's a coding, right? That is that program, but the computer reads the coding and spits out the game, and then you play the game. But behind that coding, behind that game is this coding. It's this fucking computer
The
coding,
sequence that it
this
runs.
sequence that creates GTA, right? And if you look at everything that we're creating mirrors actual reality. So what we're doing by creating these computer programs is we're creating a system that mimics the great system, the architect's system. right? We're living in a biological construct. We're living in a program, God's program, right? If you look at it that the word of God is the program. We are living in the program because the word existed before let there be light. The word is what God plugged in to create this construct, right?
I
This
can see that.
biological reality. And that's why everything is mathematics. Like there's the Fibonacci sequences encoded everywhere,
The
right?
golden ratio.
The golden ratio, the golden mean. The artist, like Leonardo da Vinci, was alluding to this in his art when he encoded it within all these art. Like all these Renaissance painters came to this realization. That's why there was a Renaissance and a golden age of art, because the artists became conscious, they were enlightened, and they fucking encoded it within their artwork, which is coincidentally the same fucking thing that I'm doing with sacred geometry. Is I'm encoding this knowledge. This knowledge is passing through my vessel into my hand as I paint it. It's coming from here, from, like I told you, man. I'm at that top, right? I'm not trying to put myself on the pedestal, but I did the work to get there, and I'm literally channeling light codes from source into this reality, and
From
I'm
the crown.
understanding it.
From the
Yes,
crown.
from the crown into the vessel, into
3D. 3D.
reality.
3D.
That's what these Renaissance artists were doing. They understood the deeper truth, which is that we are living in a construct of mathematics. And this is stuff that Terrence Howard is talking about. This is what quantum physics has really dived into. It's all this stuff. If we put it all together, man, that is the truth. It's like all these, all the, like I told you, dude, like it's the T1000. The truth is melted and is coming back together and reforming itself, and all these different.
Form a new unity consciousness.
Yes, and it's like science doesn't have all the answers and religion doesn't have all the answers, but there
But
is a
together,
bridge. There is a
together
there is a bridge where if
being
we
built.
just put these things together and they're starting to come together, it's happening. This is why I'm this whole episode is basically about what's happening right now. Is like this is what's happening in consciousness, is it's coming together. The mirror that was shattered thousands of years ago is,
Summation of yeah.
yeah, the glass pieces are coming back together finally, and that's how we're going to get through this period of Kali Yuga, this destructive period where the shadow is going to have its last gasp effort, right? The devil, the shadow, the darkness, however you
Right.
want to characterize it, right? It's been in charge for millennia now. It's been keeping us in those lower chakras from breaking through this to this universal truth that we've been lied to this whole time, and that we're actually like light bodies. We have light bodies and vehicles beyond this construct, beyond this body itself. There is an eternal self that is powering this body, which is also powering reality, which is the one consciousness. And quantum physics, the father of quantum physics, Max Planck, had a quote, and I want to read it to you guys. It's about the basically the matrix of matter is what I'll call it. Max Planck, he's a Nobel winning uh, quantum physicist. He's one of the originators of quantum physics, and this quote pretty much changed my life, because this is quantum physics is where I saw a quote. Quantum physics is where they hide the proof of spirituality. It's where science hides the proof of spirituality. Okay, so this is the Max Planck quote. All
Um,
matter, all matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds this most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent spirit. This spirit is the matrix of all matter. This is a quantum physicist. This isn't a preacher. This isn't a shaman. This isn't any kind of religious person. I mean, obviously, he was religious because of what he found in quantum physics was that there is something vibrating this energy. It is an intelligent being vibrating this energy that is us, that is reality, that is he is powering the word, is powering the word of God, which is this program. Um, and
You
that's
know, it's,
deep.
what's
That's
interesting is that Planck is actually a terminology that's used in physics to describe the shortest unit of length between 2 points. And so when something is using Planck length, they're saying that you can actually measure it as this small unit of value between two different points, and it's at a molecular size. So it's like, you know, microscopic basically.
well, it's probably using his name because he's pretty much the father of quantum physics.
Well, yeah, of
Um,
course, he's using his name for that.
so this dude is legit, and he's telling you that I've looked at the fabrics, the particles of reality, and I see that there is a conscious, intelligent mind behind it. And this is this is where we're at. Is all this knowledge is a puzzle, and it's being put back together, and the veil on consciousness is being lifted, and there's going to come a time in the not too distant future where you're going to be called to the truth by the source of all things. And you can either stay in this old world that's dying and deny the truth, or you can feng shui your ego to the side and realize that there is something beyond you that is beyond your comprehension, and that is actually, once you really fully submit, will start communicating with you clearly. It's always trying to communicate with you. We all have Jiminy Cricket on our shoulder. We all have God communicating with us. And me and Alex have talked about this before. And it's just something, the voice is always there. And once you have your spiritual awakening, it just gets louder, and it touches you deeper. Um, and it's just about submitting to that understanding that there is something greater than you that wants you to be your greatest self and is trying to help you get there. And if you once you stop going your own way and start listening to that cricket on your shoulder, because we all have it, right? It's always talking to us. If you want to do something, like say we're diverting from our path, I want to go this way.
Yeah.
I want to do these things that aren't good for me. And I know they're not good for me, but I want to do these things. And then that little cricket comes up and says, well, if you do that, it's not going to end so well for you. And you say, fuck you, cricket. I'm going to go off this way. And then the cricket says, well, just remember, dude, I told you not to do it. And then you go and you do it anyway, and your life gets fucked up and bad things
Well,
happen. And then here comes that cricket. I told you so. It's like submit.
I don't
It's
want to do I don't want to give the doom and gloom story, like that yeah, like that is there's a lot of that, but at the same time, there's two sides to that coin. Um and I don't want to give just a burden of knowledge, right? Like there are some stuff that's going on. And I'd like to maybe like interject with this. We've got a few minutes. I've gotten already the notification that time was gonna get cut off probably about 6 minutes ago, so we got a few minutes. But I will say this, for all of you that have been sticking around so far, I'll tell you that in the tech space, one of the things that little Jiminy Cricket thing has been telling me is that if you're following crypto, if you're not, you should be. This is also alchemy, transmuting energy, but also a tech thing because I also work heavily in tech. I'm getting things organized for the platform that I'm doing, and also want to report that there is some projects that I've been called to work on, which are going to be bridging the base chain ecosystem with the Solana ecosystem, with something I want to call the light bridge. Since it's Solana, we got to put the light bridge for Solana, and actually the irony behind that is I was going to call the unit of exchange that's going to be the bridge between Solana and the light bridge to base chain is going to be Plank. So that's why I wanted to bring that up, because I actually bought the domain and everything, plank.fyi, and I wanted to use that as a unit of measure, the shortest possible unit of measure between 2 points, so that when you do send your plank over the light bridge, you're going between base and Solana and back and forth. And there is a reason for that. For the ecosystem that I am building on base, because it is Ethereum based, and we're getting ready for X1 to go live, which is part of the Zen ecosystem. And I'm also heavily invested in Zen, a product by Jack Levin, who helped build Google's cloud infrastructure and a few other things. So yeah, like, it's really important to note these things, because this is part of like understanding understanding the lies of the financial system, understanding where it's all going. If That's why I said, if you're not in the crypto space, you need to be learning, you need to be finding some people that are speaking some truth. Look for decentralized applications that are fair launch. I'd recommend looking into Fair Crypto, and just doing your research, but I think that this is a great segue now, and we'll wrap it up, and we'll bring it back and do a wrap up on the next segment. And yeah, I hope everyone's still following along and getting some value out of this.
Yeah, we definitely going forward want to have a more organized delivery of information. We want to have screen shares and just show you guys in live time that we aren't bullshitting here. Like, there is definitely a
We've
lot
got plenty
of
to screen share.
what's that?
We have got plenty to screen share.
Yeah, we've got a lot of information that we want to kind of bring in a very meticulous fashion, to where there's no disputing that this information is valid. But the purpose of today's episode has been to lift the veil, right? They kind of tell you guys, like, look, this is what's happening. This is how it's happened, right? Is like, knowledge got fractured. The eternal knowledge got fractured and brushed under rugs and into secret societies and into ideologies. And it's just like, all these different pieces of the puzzle have been purveyed as the unmistakable truth, but it's really just been a little piece of the big puzzle. And Alex, he's kind of stumbled upon this codex of information that is going to give us a lot of jumping off points. It's going to give us some jumping off points to really get into things like meditation, for example, and how it can benefit you, and just different correlations of knowledge. And anyway, we're about to end this segment. We will come back and wrap it up, and I'll have another outfit for you guys. Remember, AlcheMysticApparel.com, Mr. Alchemistic on Instagram. You can find all the awesome stuff that I create. So yeah, we'll be right back. We'll wrap it up, and we'll see you in a minute.
Au revoir.
Hey everyone, I'm the Quantum Architect, Alex Romero, and remember that you don't need to purchase anything to actually help out the cause. We are here to help you to get your life on track. If you have any policies that you want to have reviewed, your property and casualty, your life and health insurance, any of those insurance policies that you would like to have reviewed by a professional, a second set of eyes to let you know that you got the proper coverage. A lot of things have changed since COVID, so if you've got your policies before then, you may want to have a second set of eyes to review it. So there is a link on the website at the Quantum ICU, so that's qtm.icu, and it's absolutely free, doesn't cost you anything to see how you can help yourself. So do go to the website, check it out, fill out the forms, and allow us to help you, and in return, you will in fact help us accomplish our goal of building out this project. Have a wonderful day.
And we are back with part 4 of episode 2 of Quantum Alchemist. I'm wearing the death card. Alex is wearing Dragon Ball Z. He's
I guess.
disappeared. Oh, and now Wendy's getting back and getting in my lap. Oh, okay. I guess we're gonna do this. We're gonna
She
do
wants
this.
no.
All right.
She wants
Okay.
in.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I see you. I see you. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Why don't you just get comfortable? Oh, I haven't given you enough attention, huh? There you go. Part 4 is just me hugging the dog. Just me hugging the dog. Yep, just getting that sweet, sweet dog love.
Yep.
So this is the type of stuff that happens when you vibrate high. The dogs just want to love you. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic thing. See? Yeah, see? Yep. Yep. Yeah, I love you too. Okay. Yep. So the death
Yeah.
card. All right, we've been talking about this shift in consciousness and becoming your highest self. And oh, you just stepped on my balls. Oh, that's not good.
All right, we're done.
Becoming your
Okay.
highest self, your highest self. But yeah, so it's a painful process, and it's there's a reason why we avoid this change and we stay in those lower chakras because it's a painful process, and you really do have to die to this world, as Christ said. You this material world, this material self, this ego. You see it in all these different, Buddhism's talking about surpassing the ego, and it really starts, I think, with meditation. I think meditation is what helped me kind of crack through this glass ceiling that I've been butting heads with for decades. I've been on this spiritual path for a long time, but I always kind of shied away from Eastern philosophy. I shied away from the secret societies are from the devil, so I don't want to look into that stuff.
It's from the devil.
And you find that the things that they cause you to fear and the things that they cause you to avert from, or they program your mind so that you can't break through in meditation, so you're just stuck down here and you can never break through and
Fear,
get up here.
fear.
That actually is the stuff that unlocks secrets. It's the stuff that unlocks your connection to source, and being able to. A lot of people say, "Well, I can't meditate. I can't stop thinking," and that's there. It is right there. You're thinking, like, your thoughts are never going to stop. I'll tell you that much. Your thoughts never
Yeah.
stop. People that meditate on different planes of existence, the thoughts are still coming, but it's about creating a force field around so that those thoughts never grow. Like Eckhart Tolle, I think, was talking about it. Like, the thoughts are seeds. These seed, and the point of the thought, it wants to grow. So it's a seed that plants itself in your mind, and then it grows into another thought, and then just
Inception.
pay attention to your thought process. Your thoughts come in, and then it gives rise to more thoughts, and then more thoughts, and then more thoughts. So it's all about stopping it at the seed level, right? The thought will come in, and then it's like, nope, back to center, back to the moment. The thoughts are all
Yeah.
trying to get you out of the moment. And meditation, the key to meditation is coming to the moment and then just allowing the moment to exist. And those thoughts can come in, but they don't catch root. And then really, once you get to that state, then you can break into where you're astral projecting or remote viewing. I'm not really into remote viewing because I don't want to spy on anybody, and I don't really give a shit about remote viewing. I'm more into traveling consciousness with my light body and really tapping into source and my higher self.
Have you seen Inception?
I have.
Okay, I think that's a great movie to interpret like the seed concept, right? Because it's like, where did this thought originate from? Was it your thought or was it a planted thought? And whose idea, whose concept is it? Is it yours? Is it a higher powers? Is it a lower powers? Like, who's in control? Who's the driving force behind the vessel that you're in? Who's steering that ship? And that thought that you act on, right? Is it someone else's thought that was planted in, right? Or is it your own? And and it's not just that. Is it like, for example, we talked about doing a podcast, on the interview that I did with you back in Talking to Strangers, and I first saw this, I was like, you know what, like we have to do this, and so the thought came up then. That was a few months back, and then like full circle to like today, and like I know that today was long, even like right now, for example, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I want to give perspective to our audience. Like, you're tired, I'm tired. I've been out in Hollywood all day taking care of errands and stuff, and it's like, we did our last show a month, like we recorded it a little over a month ago. We published it almost a month ago, actually, July 4th, and then July 11th we
July
published
11th. So it was exactly a month ago that we published part two. Um,
of episode 1, yeah.
well,
So,
go ahead.
well, the reason I bring this up is because, like, you know, um, keeping this kind of thing going active, like regularly, even like I was briefly mentioning to you, my focus, right? Like, I want to make sure that my focus is more on the things that I want to align with, and I really want to be able to get more into like the screen share stuff and like show some of the things that we've had a chance to talk about, to let them see it for themselves. Now, one of the things I'm thinking we could probably do is maybe even uh get some like B-roll footage of the physical information, like if I just cover like parts of the book or whatever, like even parts of the documents, and like we just kind of like do a dub over and just include the footage in the editing, and then so we can talk about these things and like find a way to like work the physical document, or the virtual document, into the image so that people could see along with us what we're talking about. Even like the Templar Order stuff, like, yeah, like even hearing stuff like that, I wouldn't normally have been really impressed by that document, had it not provided some of the imagery that it did, some of the pictures that it did, because it could have just been like anyone, writing some of this stuff. But there was some really profound pictures there showing some stuff that I've never seen before anywhere else, with some like, some basically like people dressed up in some weird robes that just looked like some otherworldly shit, and like this dude looked like he was in a part of a cult, or some sort of like organization, whatever you want to call it. Um, and he was providing his input or his experience or his perspective from um this organization's viewpoint, and he was willing to provide a picture of his face, of who he was, or at least we think that this is who this guy is. And I'm sure if we did, like, if we were to go back and see like all the imagery, and find out who everyone was, like everyone there had a role that they play in society, and there probably is somebody, an important somebody somewhere in the world. um but like the reason I'm saying this is that imagery is just as impactful, if not just more impactful, than the actual text itself, because it shows the proof that someone was living that life, and it's just not just fantasy. It's not just someone's made up um a version of whatever they want to tell, whatever story they want to tell. Like, this is people actually showed up and dressed up for this version of 3D, because they believed in it that much that they actually dressed up in this and showed up for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's important to show context of like this isn't just stuff that you and I cooked up in our kooky heads
Yeah.
and are like there's literally people for thousands of years have believed in these concepts and have been touching this knowledge, and a lot of these things look foreboding, right? There's a certain image that has been created around secret societies like the Templars or like the Freemasons or the Priory of Sion from the Da Vinci Code, and there's always like this dark element that is portrayed, and ritualistically, oh, the robes are very ominous, and what you need to understand about ritual is it's about intention and energy. Rituals are done collectively to harness energy, and the energy stuff is real. And science and religion and all this, the mysticism, they are all kind of touching a piece of it. And when you really push it all together, it really creates this picture of truth, that we are all energy. That's all there is. Everything is light energy, and if you really want to it boils down to, it's all love. Love is energy, and it's all that exists, and love is God. And it sounds like kind of fucking woo woo. Oh, love. It's this cliche of like, love is the answer, man. But the truth is that is the truth. Is once you break through to that highest level of consciousness and really,
simple. It's so simple that it's complicated.
that's the thing. That's the trick. Is like, it seems so simple and so cliche. Oh, love is the answer. Oh, fuck, I've heard that before. But it really is the truth. And once you really break through and start having a relationship with God, with Source, you feel it. You feel it here, and that's why it's so important to open the heart chakra. And because you're when you're down here in the base desires, you don't feel it, and you don't hear that voice. It's that you don't hear Jiminy Cricket, or you tell them to fuck off, and you flick them away because you're down here below your heart. And then when your heart opens, you really feel it and understand that energy. You go out and you watch a sunrise, and it brings you to tears. And I find pleasure in very simple things, especially when I'm in a meditative state or I've come out of a meditative state. I'm usually in nature. The other day, I found myself just watching the ants and just like flabbergasted by the complexity of this small little creature and his little, just the way they, yeah, they're all like working together, and they're all going down this hole with supplies where they have this ant, colony beneath the earth. It was just watching them just blew my mind. Or like watching birds, I have, or butterflies or whatever, man. Once you really connect, it's like you get it. Oh, this is a magical fucking place, and I am magical. And like, stuff like the robes and the rituals and that kind of stuff, it can kind of turn people off, especially if they're ideologically inclined. They're stuck in the church or something like that, because they don't really understand what they're seeing, and they've been programmed to look at those things as demonic or evil, right? Um, and like I said earlier, like, I don't perform magic rituals. I am magic. I am. I am. And so everything I do is magic. And once you understand that concept, that you are a magical piece of the creator, and that you have the power over this reality to manifest your intentions and your dreams, and to attract the things to you, the law of attraction, attract the things to you that you need to accomplish the vision in your mind and in your heart that the creator put in there, your purpose, your intention, the intention of you being here in this reality. It's not to fucking go work a 9 to 5 and run on a hamster wheel your whole life. That's not your purpose. And I'll tell every single human being that exists that that is not your purpose. That is not the purpose of this existence. To just work until you're 65 and you're too old to want to do anything anymore. So you just fucking turn into a husk of a human like fucking Mr. Burns.
And if you're lucky, you've got a retirement. And if you're lucky, you have retirement.
That wasn't it. That's not it, guys. It really isn't. And once you break through, you understand how precious you are and how incredible this experience is, and that you are a piece of God, and that you are worthy of God's love. You're worthy of everything that you desire. You're worthy of that vision in your mind of whatever it is you want to do and whatever your heart's telling you to do. And you don't ever do it because you're stuck in those lower three chakras and you never
Like,
opened your heart, and you're in a cycle, and you're in a state of degradation, and you have a capability to break beyond that and break the glass ceiling, but you have to die. You have to die to that lower nature. You have to die to that flesh and understand that you are light. You are a being of light, and you have a soul that is a piece of the creator, that is everything that is. And that's fucking empowering to such an amazing level, and it changes your life. And now that I'm in this place, I just want that for everybody else. You know, I understand that my purpose is to be that light, to touch other people's lives, to touch that God particle that's inside your heart and open that chakra so that you're not stuck in that lower level of degradation that the devil or Satan or whoever the
jump
shadow,
off the hamster
the
wheel.
snake, whatever symbol or name you want to call it, right? It's trying to keep you from that realization of opening your heart and finding God in you, the I am that I am. And it's powerful, and it's going to change the world, because we are in this shift in consciousness, and this is talked about in spiritual circles, this divergence, right, of timelines, this the two realities that are emerging. It's going to be the people that can't break through, that just keep clinging to this old world that's been enslaving them to this lower vibrational state. These people that can't change, that aren't willing to die, that aren't willing to become the butterfly, die and become the butterfly. It's painful, and it's hard to come to this realization, and to kick off all this societal conditioning and the lies you've been taught, to
Right.
really break through and understand that you're a piece of God. It's very confronting, and it's
You know
not
what I think?
easy.
You know what I think the problem is too is like I think there's a lot of people that, and this is part of like what I've noticed this myself in like a few people that they feel like, well, I've already fucked up, so I'm just gonna commit to it. It's like, you don't have to commit to the fuck up. Like realizing that you fucked up, that you are fucked up, is the first step to healing. But you don't have to commit to like, oh, you've already made the mistakes. It's like, no, 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 no. It's okay that you've made the mistakes. Now you don't have to keep repeating them. Like it's almost like an act of self-punishment that people do. Instead of correcting the issue, they just continue to punish themselves by repeating it and thinking like, well, I've already messed up, so who cares? Like I can't change. Can't change it now. It's too late.
Part of the degradation is to believe you are not redeemable. And it's like, I think the biggest obstacle for a great many people is self-forgiveness. Because if you understand what Christ did in his act of sacrifice, whether you want to see it as a real act or a symbolic act, some allegory, it doesn't matter. The real understanding that you need to come to is that it's forgiven, right? The Creator has forgiven the sins, the forgiven the missing of the mark. It's forgiven the lower vibrational flesh.
The falling
This is
short.
corruptible, right? Here, this here is corruptible. It is going to die, right? But there's something permanent and eternal beyond this thing that's going to return to the earth, right? And it's understanding that you are worthy of forgiveness, and the Creator has forgiven you already, right? And you need to forgive yourself and know that you are redeemable, and you don't need to commit to the fuck ups. You don't need to keep staying in the state of degradation. And oh well, I already fucked up. I'm too fucked up to redeem. I'm too fucked up. And it's a fucking bullshit lie. It's a bullshit lie. You're
Yeah,
not too fucked
yeah.
up. You're still alive. And this
It's like
is
the
something.
people.
What's
I'm
that?
sorry. I was just gonna say it's like the people who say that they're genetically predisposed to being alcoholics or drug addicts because they say, "Oh, it's in my blood. Like all my family's been this, so because of that, I'm this." It's like no, like you're not predisposed to your genetic bloodline. You're predisposed to your environment. So, like, if you're constantly around a bunch of people just doing drugs and doing alcohol, chances are you're more likely to become an alcoholic or a drug addict. That's your predisposition. It's not has nothing to do with your bloodline. It has nothing to do with what your family is. Like, ultimately, you're not. They're not the ones pouring you the drink or lighting the bowl. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't work that way.
It, a lot of the mental illness and mental health crisis is tied up in programs. Your mind is programmed,
The
and
word,
you're programmed to believe things about yourself. You're programmed to believe things about the world. Oh, the world's fucked up, and
and then
oh,
you're
humanity's gonna
programmed to believe
die.
that you can't change it.
Well, yeah, and I honestly, I'm the delusional fucking guy that thinks I can change the world. I think
Yeah,
I can change the world. I think that God has given
me
me
too.
this ability and this understanding and this willingness to communicate it because I'm supposed to change the world. I believe that 100%. And I just keep getting more and more confirmation as I walk my path that that is exactly what I'm going to do. And people can laugh at that. Who the fuck are you? You're just some 41-year-old artist. What are you going to do? It's like I'm the most powerful person on the planet in my eyes. I'm the most powerful physical being on the planet because I'm connected to the thing that created all this stuff.
Right.
So tell me I can't do something. I'm going to do it. And maybe someone will kill me along the way because they think I'm the devil or some stupid shit like that. Or maybe the old world order will try to stop you and I because we're the fucking wolf pack and we're the black and the red. And we're here, we're the Illuminati wolf pack, and that we see the truth and we're gonna give it back to the people. We're the fucking Robin Hoods of knowledge. Like that's what I see myself as. And because I believe in myself and I believe in what I've been given as far as my duty and my purpose on this planet at this
So
time of great shift.
so that's a perfect segue because I do want to bring up the fact that thankfully now the way things are settling, like I'll be able to get the network back up and running within a matter of a few weeks. And when I do, I'm gonna take some of the stuff. Like right now, I'm putting some of the stuff that we've been talking about in the Telegram. So um if you want to get more of an understanding of like what the heck we're even talking about, if you want to take a dive into the Telegram, we'll add the description in the below. And you can go ahead and just snoop it out for yourself. I'm doing a lot of adding of documentation there. Obviously, this is just preliminary until I get the network up. Once I get the network up, I'm going to be uploading all the archives onto there. Very much in the similar fashion like what you see in the Telegram. I'm going to kind of keep the same structure because I want to have something that's already modeled, and and so I'm gonna be uploading that, and then from there, once the network is up, B, you and I will be able to actually do these very same things instead of here. We'll be able to do it on the network. We'll be able to do it live. People from the network will be able to chime in, and interact with us. Maybe even like it'll be more engaging, and at the same time, people will be compensated for their participation. Like it's just gonna get way cooler, way more entertaining, way more incentivizing people to even go down these rabbit holes for us. And the reason I bring all this up is, um, like the way that we have our stuff lined up. We do want to raise capital for this. I don't want to necessarily take money out of your pocket. I do have a website set up. It's called quantum.icu, spelled qtm.icu. Now, what you could do is if you go there, there are a couple of different options from the drop down menu. If you go ahead and go through and do those surveys, what happens is I will protect your data, of course. I have methods for obviously that stuff. And what happens is we go ahead and we take the information provided and we run it through our analysis algorithm that comes up with a personalized financial plan that is specific to your scenario, based on your age, based on your income, based on your assets that you hold, based on your overhead, based on your protection, your risk. Like there's a lot of things, a lot of factors that are like taken into account for, right? Now, instead of us taking money out of your pocket, or you investing in anything, like this is something where like you go and you do this, and the results are that we get, we'll be able to tailor make a financial plan for you that you can follow. And if you connect with any other providers that we connect you to in this financial plan, it will help you reduce your overhead in expenses probably by as high as 20 to 30% every month in your insurance and your overhead, and that includes merchant processing, and business insurance, property casualty, and also health insurance and life insurance. And so by doing this, you will reduce your overhead expenses, and we will be compensated by the providers for your referral. So it's like you get two birds with one stone. You get the service that you need for you, for your specific use case, for your life, for your family, and you also get to help us out in achieving the goal of what we're doing here. And what's even more amazing, and check this out, guys, this is like the real like icing on the cake. I've worked it out with some providers so that basically as the platform grows and we get more people to do these programs. Uh-oh, we're running out.
10-minute
Yeah,
countdown.
which this is perfect because it's gonna leave everyone on a cliffhanger. So pretty much like as we grow and we get more people to do these programs, um, what's gonna happen is as more of these policies get issued and people do this mechanism through this platform, and it's only through this platform because what's happening is I'm actually acquiring a bunch of people to partner with me as a company so that they could put their license up so that we can actually collect as an agent all of the monthly residuals from all of the policies. And by doing this, every policy that we write, we get a monthly commission on it. And all of that is capital injection back into the ecosystem. That instead of me collecting it as a payment for me or my agents, we're going to be injecting that capital back into the ecosystem, which is going to pump pretty much the value of the token that you're going to get, which is called karma, right? And um, and right now I'm heavily invested into this other ecosystem called Zen, which is going to be X1. If you're familiar with X.com, which used to be Twitter, the payment rail system for X.com is going to be X1, which is a new system that is being built right now. And so anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up this mechanism by if you want to um, achieve a new token called Dharma, I'm gonna make it so that you could burn your Zen to get Dharma in our ecosystem, and that will be the bridge between Zen and karma, and it'll be Dharma. So there's a lot of different things in the works right now. really cool projects. There's just so much happening. I really can't get into too many details yet. Um, at the end of third quarter, fiscal end of third quarter, financial third quarter, um, there's going to be a lot of financial instruments that are going to be maturing and giving us a lot of liquidity that we can tap into. So there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of things that you're going to see over the coming episodes. I'm going to make it a very a priority to try and get more episodes done with B here. B, I hope you can help and join me into trying to like push out more content more frequently. Um, I I feel like we're on the cusp of like really really finalizing some really important stuff that the moment it hits, like it'll be great to have all of this stuff ready in the pipeline. And then it'll just make more sense for the audience when they're like, what the heck are they talking about? Like, what are they getting ready for? And what the heck are they working on? And it sounds very like almost like mysterious, but it's just think of it like a combination of a group of people's life's work, and all of us coming together to like release this ecosystem to our community, and that's what we're doing. So I'm very happy to to share with you that things are going great, and that within just a few weeks, we'll be able to launch a beta, and we'll be able to start communicating on a different platform. So super excited about that.
Yeah, man, it's this whole episode has been real between my tangents, my long spiritual tangents, and talking about prospective crypto network. It's probably going to be over a lot of people's heads to start off here with these first two episodes. I know it's been just a lot of if you're
Data dump.
if you, it's a lot of, yeah, it's a data dump, and I think a lot of people are probably gonna be like, this is just a bunch of mumbo jumbo between spirituality and tech. It's like it's this intersection of spirituality and tech that is just so above my head. I don't even understand or know where the fuck these guys are going or what they're doing. But ultimately, the reason we're doing this is because we know we're on the launch pad. Like we built these rockets and we're on the launch pad and we're about to explode into the stratosphere in front of the world. And these first couple episodes are really just about us giving you a little peek, peeling back the veil on your consciousness a little bit and letting you know there's more to this thing, and there's going to be a whole lot more coming. We're about to come out the gates and explode in front of all your faces. And I feel like the first episode didn't get a ton of views. This one probably won't get a ton,
I don't
but
care.
like it doesn't matter. Like it's really just about recording this information, and we're gonna point back to this testimony of like, look, this is we told you guys like we were gonna change the fucking world, and you probably laughed and said, oh, look at these two fucking guys. Um, but yeah, it's like the future belongs to me and Alex, and and we're not gonna be tyrants. We're here to fucking set you free. And you can believe that or not believe that. You can think we're nuts. You can think we're wacky.
I'll take
But
it.
if you are here at the end of episode 2 right now, and you've listened to us for what's
Special.
probably about 2 hours, go on and on about spirituality and tech, and trying to figure out how it all correlates, you're about to find out. And as two guys that know that they're ahead of the curve and way ahead of their time and ahead of pretty much 99% of everybody, fucking buckle up, buckaroos. because it's about to get real fast. So we'll leave you with that. And I'm gonna have this smug, satisfied smile on my face as I know what's coming, and so does Alex. And laugh if you must, but enjoy this sleeping dog.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Episode
Love it.
of the Veil. Hopefully, you guys got something out of that episode, but we promise you there's much more to come, and it will all be very clear to you very soon that we are for real and we're about to do some major, major shit. Bye bye.
Deuces.